Take a look at this picture. His whole body is covered with tattoo, which is registered on Guinness World Record as the world's most tattooed person. Guinness is interesting because there are such strange records. This one is the tallest living person. This Guinness record was created by the beer maker for some reason. So this time, we're gonna talk about the Guinness World Record. Let's start with the Guinness history. One day in November 1951, Sir Hugh Beaver, who was the managing director of the company called Guinness Beer, enjoyed hunting in local Ireland. He made a bet with a local hunting companion. If you kill that Pacific golden plover over there, you win. Eventually, he was run away by the Pacific golden plover and lost the bet. That loss made Beaver hold a grudge, and that night at the local pub, he claimed that the Pacific golden plover is the fastest bird in the world, and that heated up the pub. And one day, Beaver suddenly thought of this. It would be interesting to put together the world's best that exists in this world in a book. And 3 years later, Beaver again bets in the pub the Pacific golden plover should be faster than the fastest Logopus muta in Scotland. But how is he going to prove it, you might ask? Of course, the discussion wasn't only the conclusion. Christopher Touchaway, the Guinness Brewery executive, approached his former college friends, Norris and Ross. That's because Norris and Ross run an organization that conducts judicial investigations. They are interested in finding out the best in the world. Norris and Ross gathered the best records in the world, and in August 1955, the first edition of the Guinness Book of Records was published. This was the beginning of the Guinness. By the way, the first Guinness book was initially sold only in the UK, and it was the best-selling book in the country due to Christmas demand. It was sold in the United States the following year, and 7,000 copies were sold. It was so well received that the production department devised an idea to publish it every year, and the Guinness Book of Records popularized the world. The Guinness Book of Records has sold over 100 million copies in 37 languages in over 100 countries, and it is a very popular book. By the way, what do you think is the best-selling book in the world? The answer is Bible. The Bible is actually registered in the Guinness Book of Records as the best-selling book in the world, and it is said to be that the Bible has issued 6 billion to 389 billion. In this way, the Guinness succeeded as the world's best book, and in 1972, the BBC launched a television program called Record Breaker. In this program, the challenger tried to break the record of the best in the world, recorded in the Guinness Book of Records, and the judges were Norris and Ross, who created the Guinness Book of Records. This program was the catalyst for the established culture of Guinness record breaking. There's just a lot of Guinness records, like a record of how many tap dances can be done in a minute, and some crazy records like maximum number of sausages can be balanced on top of the ear while dancing traditional Scottish folk songs and whistling. That's just insane. Whatever the case, the Guinness Book of Records, they record everything from the most immeasurable record in the world to the craziest record in the world. Back in the history of Guinness, around 2000, the Guinness Brewery sold its Guinness Book business to entertainment media. At that time, the Guinness Book of Records changed its name to Guinness World Records, and after a few transfer of rights, it was eventually sold to the Canadian millionaire. Sometime later, the following opinions were cast on Guinness World Record. Something like, is it ethically alright, and what if someone imitates that dangerous record? It could be a trend of time, but this opinion isn't to say wrong. If a person tries for the Guinness World Records and seriously injured or die, it wouldn't be funny. For that reason, Guinness has deleted some dangerous records in the past, and there are also records that applications cannot pass in the first place. Let me briefly introduce what kind of records are prohibited in Guinness. First of all, it is ethically prohibited to record the size-related pets, for example, the weight and how fat the animal is. The reason is that there was a person who challenged Guinness by feeding a large amount of food to the fish in the past, and it was ethically prohibited to force pets to eat a large amount of food regardless of fish, and the record was erased. But of course, pet-related records will be accepted if there is no ethical problem. For example, in 2016, the tallest dog in the world did set a Guinness record, and that dog named Zeus. And the similar genre, fast eating, has not been recorded in Guinness Book of Records since the 1990s, and it has been announced that it will not be accepted if the operation does not follow safety-conscious rules. The record of not sleeping was also erased as a result. You compete for how long a challenger can stay awake, but it is very dangerous to force a person not to sleep. According to an experiment conducted in the United States in 1964, Randy Gardner spent 11 days and 12 minutes without sleeping, but he was in a very dangerous state with illusions, hallucinations, and memory problems. Although records of such dangerous challenges are not accepted, there are also some records may not be accepted for other reasons. For example, the highest IQ record. In 1980s, Marilyn Vos Savant was recorded as the highest IQ of 288. In fact, she was clever enough to confront a mathematician in Monty Hall problem. It's a probabilistic problem and receive an honorary degree from the University of New Jersey. However, because the error due to the IQ measurement method, and the fact that the recognizing the person with the highest IQ in the world is meaningless and credible in the first place, in the end, the category of IQ record has been deleted. I have talked about the negative part of the Guinness World Records, but it is safe to say that it's been used around the world as the only medium that handles the best in the world, and being loved from long ago even today. Now, let's talk about the guy who changed his life within Guinness. His name is Ashrita Furman. He has the most Guinness official records, and he had 216 records, and he still holds 89 records today. Let's take a past of his life. Furman was born in Brooklyn in 1954. The following year, the first edition of the Guinness Book of Records was published, and Furman longed for the Guinness record from his childhood. However, Furman was not very good at exercising. At this time, he had never expected to challenge the Guinness. When he was a teenager, he met a certain person and his life changed dramatically. That person is Sri Chinmoy. He also was a yoga leader and philosopher who lived in New York. Not only yoga but also music, painting and literature. And Chinmoy gave the concert lectures all over the world for free. Furman met with Chinmoy and changed his mind. Exercise is useless and spending book is more meaningful. That's what Furman thought. But Chinmoy gave Furman a teaching method that whenever you try to do anything and exceed your limits, that's when you skill up. Furman was advised by Chinmoy to participate in a 24-hour bicycle race sponsored by Pepsi Cola. And when he ran those courses in Central Park that night, he felt that he had been released from himself. After that, he trained very hard during the 2 weeks before the tournament, and finished third in the tournament for the first time. For him, this was one of the most impressive experiences, and Furman stated, "I decided to break the Guinness registration so that others would understand that people have indomitable strength inside." He then traveled around the world to spread the teachings of Chinmoy, and in 2003, he set the world records on all 7 continents of the earth. And this way, Furman was certified as the Guinness record as the person with the most Guinness record. As he says, humans have indomitable strength inside. It is the existence of a challenge that can bring this out. By taking on challenge, people can grow and face new challenges. And the Guinness World Record that created the place to take the challenge. Some people have changed their outlook on life as a result of challenging the record of Guinness and have created stories of surprise and excitement. There is no condition to challenge the Guinness. The application itself does not cost any money, and anyone has a chance to become the world's best. If you are bored with your mundane life, trying Guinness may be one of your options. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next video.